What's up, you sweaty nerds and greasy degenerates? So I accidentally stumbled upon a pretty big lore bomb for Honkai Star Rail that may have implications for the past of this game, the present of this game, and potentially, and very, very likely, the future of this game as well. This is bigger than just some Penacony thing, okay? So first, I want to sort of show you guys the different things that help me realize what's going on here, help paint the picture for it, and then drop the lore bomb on you guys, and then I guess elaborate beyond that point. Because if I just dropped the bomb on you, you guys probably wouldn't believe me right off the bat, right? So let me go ahead and show you guys some things here. So it all started with this relic set you see on screen right here. This is one of the new relic sets coming to us in Penacony. It looks like an armor set, but there's a lot more going on than just that. So, as you can see, Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters. This looks almost like armor, but if you look at the headpiece, it almost reminds us of scuba gear. Like really, really old school scuba gear looked a lot like this. And as you can see from the name, Pioneer Diver of Deep Waters does reflect something like scuba gear would be. Now, as you can see on screen, I flashed this earlier by accident, but you see this red flower, which is the same red flower that you see on every single one of these relic pieces. And this red flower was recently introduced to us on Acheron's splash art. Right here, you can see an example of the flowers that are on those relic sets. Now, this splash art paints a massive, massive picture. This splash art tells a big, big story. And the more you look at it, the more you might connect the dots on certain things. So we will be returning to this splash art in just a moment, but let me connect some more dots for you with that relic set so that we can get into the bigger picture. So you might see a similarity between this helmet scuba gear relic piece, that it looks just like this scuba gear headpiece for this character. And you might be thinking, who the heck is that? That's not even a Honkai Star Rail character. Wrong. This character has been introduced to us during Dan Heng Inhibitor Lune's lore video, at least one of his many lore videos. As you can see right here, this is the Celestia History of the Xianzhou, Exodus of the Five Dragons. I'll link all this stuff to you in the pinned comment and description below so you can go take a look at this for yourself. We don't know who this is on the left. We don't know who this is right here also on the left, but we do know that these two were the narrators for this lore video all about Dan Heng and Inhibitor Lune. They're also shown only one other time at the beginning of the video. Here's that guy wearing the armor, which are the relics that we were seeing in Penacony. Literally the same gear, same relic sets. And this is the scuba dude, and this is the other narrator for the video. And this video goes deep into Long the Permanence, you know, on a very, very old dragon and their descendants, which I believe Long the Permanence is an Aeon, right? And all his descendants are also very powerful beings, and we were introduced to a whole bunch of them in this lore video. You might recognize, for example, this one right here. If you're a Genshin Impact fan, you might recognize the name Venti, because Venti is an Archon from Genshin Impact, and is also just so happens to be very, very close to a dragon-like being from Genshin Impact. So what does this all mean? I want to keep showing you guys different things to paint the picture, because like I said, if I just told you the lore bomb, it wouldn't really make sense. Notice that the entire video has watercolor like all over it. So this entire video is all done using a special, like very specific type of art style, and it's all very gray, very mute, very flat, and it's all, how do I describe it? Just, it's very unique and very gray. Most of it's all gray watercolor stylings, and it depicts a whole lot of different dragons on it. As I said, Long the Permanence among many others, such as, let's see here, this dragon right here, which you can see the skeleton coming out of its chest, and its chest is open. This is a big boy right here. And just to kind of prove to you, this is, in fact, Dan Heng Inhibitor Lune's lore video, at least one of his lore videos. So you might recognize that dragons have a very, very specific looking body type, which are very, very long and span a very large distance, and they're massive. These guys are absolutely massive. So let's take a look at this splash art again. We can see the red flowers from that same relic set that I showed on screen earlier, and you can see that Acheron is literally standing on a battlefield. There's arrows stuck into the ground. There's specific like war banners in the background. You see these like long things right here in the background. These are literally war banners, right? You see these from old school war battles and stuff. You see these arrows, and you see this very long skeleton, right? And it looked like originally this was just two skeletons. But if you look closely, this is very likely this is one long skeleton. One long skeleton, not two. It starts all the way over here, and you can see that this is where the head of this creature would have been. And if you follow it all the way along, it gets foggy over here, but you can kind of tell that this is just one long skeleton. It goes all the way along, all the way over here, and comes all the way back over to here. And this is likely where the tail of this creature would have been. And you might notice that this long skeleton could only have one very specific body type. It is a very long, very large creature, just like a dragon would be. Just like a dragon would be. So yes, I am implying that this is the skeleton of a dragon. And the only dragons that we know of that really exist in a black and white watercolor painting type of environment. The only time we've ever been introduced to something like that was in Dan Heng and Bibitor Lune's lore video, where the entire video is all done using very specific black and white watercolor painting type of stuff. So this is very, very clearly meant to depict the same type of thing. And if you guys don't believe me on the watercolor styling, let's look at the splash art some more. For some more proof. As you can see, the entire background is all black and white watercolor painting style. The only color in this entire image comes from the red flowers and Acheron herself. You can assume that this title with the 5-star thing, this would not normally be here, obviously. This is just a title, right? Everything is black and white with that same white and black color like design and very specific art style. If you look in the background, you can see the paint strokes from watercoloring and from like what a painting would have. You can see the paint strokes like this right here. And it goes further than that. Take a look behind Acheron's actual name. If you take a look behind her name, you can see the black and white paint strokes, the very thick black paint strokes that we've only seen one other place before. And that is quite literally right here in this splash art. You see the thick black from the painting from this very specific video. It's only ever been depicted like this in this one video. And as you can see, that water drop, that thick black water drop, and then they paint the picture beyond that. So this splash art is very clearly trying to depict what we saw in Dan Heng and Bibitor Lune's lore video. This skeleton is very clearly meant to be a dragon's skeleton. And the only person we can see here is Acheron. Okay? Now, Acheron is probably a pretty powerful character in this game. Many of us have been suspecting she's going to be a powerhouse. She's a galaxy ranger based on her lore. Like, the only lore we know about her really is that she's a galaxy ranger that roams the cosmos alone. She's literally the Raiden Mei from the Honkai Star Rail universe. That makes her probably a pretty powerful character. And we were also able to find from her splash art, if I just go back to it, from her lore, let's take a look at it here. We don't know her true name. It says it right here. Her true name is unknown. So Acheron is not her real name. And that's obviously meant for us to wonder for the rest of time whether she's Raiden Mei or not. They'll never tell us whether she's Raiden Mei or not. but she is literally using Raiden Mei's sword. The sword that Acheron is using is literally the same as Raiden Mei's sword. So whether you want to believe that or not, that's fine, but it's literally the same sword. So I wanted to point that out, but it goes a little bit further than that too. So I wanted to insert right here real quick and point out that Acheron is likely the person that did this, or she's at least probably capable of doing this, because I have a feeling that more than just this cool lore bomb right here, my suspicion is that Acheron is actually an Emanator. And here's why I think that she is likely an Emanator. I'll admit it's just a hunch, but Ruan Mei kind of gave us a little bit of a hint, right? We don't hear the name Emanator mentioned very often, but Ruan Mei mentioned it recently. In the currently active main story quest for the game, the name Emanator was used, and it's used right here. If there is, what does it say? I thought of one life form that would truly lie beyond my reach, because Ruan Mei wants to research and whatnot, different, living beings. And that is an Emanator. This word does not get used very often, but she believes Emanators to be incredibly powerful beings, something that she cannot even properly comprehend. Scholars view them as executors of the Aeon's power, an executor of an Aeon's power. So an Emanator is probably the closest thing to an Archon from Genshin Impact that we could ever probably see in Honkai Star Rail. Because we've wondered for a while who the Emanators in this game are going to be. What is an Emanator? Are Emanators going to be playable like the Archons of Genshin Impact ended up becoming playable? Well, if Acheron is in fact an Emanator, she's about to become playable, just like the Archons were eventually playable. And you might notice that Acheron is kind of like a play on words. Acheron is spelled very closely, very, very closely. You just switch the R to a different position and add an E, and boom, you got a whole new word. And we all know this word is quite literally made up, right? Because Acheron isn't even her real name. So this is a very, very fun and interesting series of Easter eggs. Like, it is like Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg. And it all stems from this relic set right here that sent me on this long rabbit hole that eventually took me to discover this news that I'm presenting to you right now. And they've done this before. Look at Blade's jacket, right? It's got this little, these little eyes right here, or whatever the hell these things are. It's got this gold inlet, black with some purple in it. Very, very cool and interesting, and very, very unique. We've seen it on another relic set that's already in the game. And it is right here. This is literally Blade's jacket. You see the gold, the purple, the gold inlet. Yeah, this is the little eyes right here. Yeah, this is literally Blade's jacket. So I just wanted to point out that they've already done this type of thing before, just to kind of prove to you the validity of this situation. And I'll be honest, I have no idea who the hell this dead-ass dragon could even be. I have no clue. But I believe that this is a dragon, and that Honkai Star Rail is once again hinting and dropping a major, major lore in the form of very fun to find Easter eggs. Acheron could have done this potentially thousands of years ago. We found out that characters do live in this game for thousands of years some of the time. If Acheron is a long-life species, she could have done this a long time ago. In fact, the reason why this is depicted in watercolor is probably because these are events from the past in Dan Heng and Bibiter Lune's, story trailer that we see here. It doesn't mean that it is a guarantee that what we see here in Acheron splash art is from a long time ago, but that's probably what's going on. It could be from present day. It could be from the future of this game. But if Acheron did this, and she's capable of doing this, like I said, this may have lore implications from the past, the present, and potentially the future. This could end up connecting with Dan Heng and Bibitur Lune in some way, shape, or form, because it may have something to do with Dan Feng from his past. So this story might end up spanning a lot further than just stuff that might come in Penacony, because there's a lot of these dragons in the game. I would highly doubt that Acheron's gone through and just, you know, totally iced up and decapitated all of these dragons. There's probably more lying around. So I can't wait to see what develops from all of this. But as you can clearly tell, we got some fun stuff coming for us in Honkai Star Rail. So if you thought this was an interesting video, if you like what you see, maybe consider leaving a like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. I'm sorry this was hard to follow. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of media to be able to use in a very, like, easy to follow way for me to be able to paint this picture for you. So I apologize for that. But I'll see you next time. Peace out.